What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Electrified Reviews. If this is your first time here, well, then welcome to the channel. And to those of you who are back for more, well, we are very glad to have you. Today we are reviewing the Ontro A1 electric bike, which is essentially Ontro's more affordable hub drive version of the G1. We just reviewed the G1 as well, so if you want to check out that one, you can click above, and we'll leave a link in the description too. The A1 has a starting price of $2,199 USD, which actually feels pretty justified. Ontro is also offering an early bird adopter price on their Indiegogo campaign for $1,249 USD, or $1,249 USD, which is way better. That price is just laughably cheap, especially since the A1 has most of the same high-end components that are found on the more expensive G1. The A1 comes in 3 different frame sizes that can comfortably accommodate riders from 5'2" all the way up to 6'5", and it also comes in quite a few different color options. We've got matte pearl white, matte pearl black, gloss black, matte mineral gray, matte galaxy violet blue, limited edition. That one costs an extra $100 by the way, and also we have matte industrial red. I told you there was a lot of colors here. The A1 is comfy. Suspension aside, the geometry of the A1 makes for a relaxed, pretty upright riding posture that keeps stress off the back and shoulders. And while the A1 isn't technically a step-through, it's basically a step-through. The Y frame allows for a super low standover height, and that translates to an approachable, easy-to-ride electric bike. It's noticeably easier to get on and off the A1 compared to a traditional half-diamond frame, but more than that, it also means you can keep your feet flat on the ground when at a stop, which is great for stop-and-go city riding. Right then, let's dive into the specs. The A1 has a NHD hub motor with 500 nominal watts, 960 peak watts, and 55 newton meters of torque. It's a surprisingly powerful motor for 500 watts, and the power and acceleration curves feel really well tuned. This motor will bring the A1 up to a top speed of 20 miles per hour out of the box, or if you want to spend an extra $49 USD, you can upgrade to the 28 mile per hour top speed version. Now, what's interesting is that the motor on the 28 mile per hour version of the A1 has only 45 newton meters of torque, not 55 newton meters like on the 20 mile per hour one. So that seems to indicate that Ontro is custom winding their motors to optimize their performance based on top speed, which is actually pretty great. With both versions of the A1, you can reach that top speed with the throttle or the torque sensing pedal assist, and this is probably the coolest feature. Look, you guys know how obsessed we are with torque sensors, and there's good reason for that. Torque sensors figure out how hard you're pedaling by measuring the precise amount of pressure placed on the cranks, and then it uses that info to match the power output from the motor. So if you pedal lightly, like when you're maintaining speed, you get a little bit of extra oomph. If you pedal hard, like if you're going up a hill or if you're just accelerating, you get a ton of extra oomph. And at the end of the day, it just makes for a smoother, more enjoyable ride compared to a cadence sensor. The A1 comes stock with a SRAM X4 derailleur with trigger shifters and an 8-speed cassette. It's a solid high-quality component, but unlike the G1, there's no way to upgrade to the new Venchi continuously variable transmission, or the CVT. Remember, we've got that hub drive motor in the rear wheel on this ride, so there's just no room for the CVT. To power the A1, we have a stock 48 volt 10.4 amp hour battery with a max estimated range of around 40 miles. But if you plan on hitting tons of big hills, or if you just want more range, there is an upgrade option for a 48 volt 14 amp hour battery for an additional $99 USD. And that's going to get you about 16 more miles of range. The battery itself is locking and removable, and instead of sliding off a mounting bracket like most e-bike batteries, this one kind of pivots out. But the coolest part about this battery is that you can use it on any of the Ontro bikes. To bring the A1 to a stop, we've got Tektro Auriga dual piston hydraulic disc brakes with 180mm rotors in the front and the rear. The brakes here provide plenty of stopping power, but the version of the A1 we received for review did not have motor inhibitors, and look, while you don't really need them with a torque sensor since there's almost no latency, it would still be nice to see them just for an extra layer of safety. It's also worth noting here that this A1 is a prototype and the final version will have a few small changes. Hopefully the addition of motor inhibitors will be among them. The A1 has a curb weight of about 60 pounds and the Y-shaped frame is made from 6061 aluminum alloy. The front basket on the A1 will help add some versatility to this ride, and Ontro did a great job with attaching the basket to the head tube. This makes steering noticeably easier and helps keep stuff from spilling out when you make turns. The A1 we're reviewing has unbranded suspension, but the production version of the A1 will have RST Omega front suspension, probably with 60mm of travel. There's also a seat post suspension and a comfy Selle Royale gel saddle. Combined with the frame geometry, the A1's a pretty smooth and comfortable ride. The A1 has an integrated headlight attached to the front of the basket, so the beam won't be obstructed by anything actually inside the basket. There's also an integrated taillight, and together with the reflective sidewalls on the Schwalbe Big Bend tires, the A1 has really good visibility all around. Ontro did a good job with their wire management, and practically everything is internally routed, but it would be nice to see the wires grouped together and maybe wrapped. Having the wires internally routed is great, not just because it looks good, but it also helps protect the wires from getting snagged and potentially damaged. The handlebar setup on the A1 is clean and organized, with the display / button pad / throttle combo on the left side of the handlebars and the shifter on the right side. The display is pretty easy to read in direct sunlight, but the throttle feels a little off. There's a bit too much play and the activation isn't particularly smooth. The A1 is a huge value buy at the early adopter Indiegogo price at $1,249 USD, and even at the full MSRP price of $21.99 USD, it's a fair deal. The A1 will excel at city and neighborhood riding, and the front basket adds some nice versatility to the ride. Where the A1 really shines, though, is the various options for frame size and color, and the fact that it's overall just super approachable, easy to ride, and comfortable. Alright, that is it for the review of the A1, so let's take this bike out for a spin.